What would it take to add Remote ID to the DJI Neo? It's a great little drone. Has a lot of built-in features and does a lot of things really well. Flies FPV. But what if I wanted to use it for Part 107? And in particular, let's say I wanted to use it flying over people or transitioning over people or flying in an open area. Well, there's 4 categories for that, and the DJI Neo does meet Category 1 except for Remote ID. It does require Remote ID to do that. And looking at the Neo, well, it doesn't have a lot of room for, well, let's say modifications. The weight of the drone and frankly the carrying capacity is probably limited just to the drone itself. So I'm going to take a look at adding Remote ID to the Neo, and I'm going to see just how well, or if there are any degradations in the flying performance of the drone that we might see, and yeah, we'll give it a try. This might be a great drone for using over or transitioning over people. So let's take a look at it. Weighing the Neo and the Remote ID module, I found that the ID module increased the weight of the drone by about 10%. Using a 2x4 and a couple of nails, I made a simple fulcrum that I could bounce the Neo on, and the location of the balance was on the prop guard clips on the sides. The key here was to make sure that the Neo wasn't affected in any way in its flying performance. I didn't want to have anything added to the Neo that would in any way affect the built-in program functions, such as follow mode, and I didn't want it to affect any of the performance that I saw using FPV. After trial and error, I finally found a location that I felt was very similar to what the CG of the Neo was prior to adding the Remote ID module. So here's the Neo with the module attached to the top of it. The location, surprisingly enough, isn't centered on the pivot point actually. It's actually forward of it a bit. The way the Neo is shaped and the way it rests on the top of it, it's a bit forward, and you can see that the location that I use actually covers most of the lights except for the first row. You can still use the built-in command features, you just don't see the lights that are located on the top, and you don't see the lights that are on the top of the drone, which indicates when you power it up and turn it off. So my first test was to see how the Neo flew indoors. And it did pretty well. So I went outside to test more of the built-in functions further with the Remote ID installed. The wind began picking up, as you can see in this video. But the drone handled it well. And of course there's follow mode. and likely one of the more useful built-in functions. And the last function to be tested with the Remote ID installed was rocket mode. Of the 4 built-in functions tested, all of them seem to work fine with the Remote ID installed. All right, I'm going to explain here just briefly the Ruko scanner app that comes with the program. You'll download it from whatever device you have, in particular the App Store. And once you load the device, in the upper right-hand corner, you can find all the instructions you need for the device. It's the complete user manual that's online. And by this alone, you would have no problems just installing it. But I'll walk through some things real quick here just to give you an idea. And in addition, there's actually a couple of videos that will show you some of the operations as well. So you should have no problem setting up your Remote ID. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn it on, and you'll hold the button for 3 seconds. And then after you turn the device on, what you'll want to do is you'll want to put your information in for your drone into the Remote ID the first time. So you're going to hold the button that's referred to as the binding button for 3 seconds, and then you start getting the fast blinking light. And your Remote ID device number will come up here. And once you click on it, you'll get this screen, and the first number is the Remote ID number, and then all the subsequent other information parts there, you're going to put in yourself for yours. So for instance, your FAA drone registration number, your craft, etc. Once you put your information in that you want saved into the Remote ID, you're going to hit save, and then it will only be saved in there after you shut the device off and then you turn it back on. You'll get all the detailed information that you're going to receive while you're flying your device. So it's going to give you the distance it's from you, the status, whether it's airborne, the heading information of the drone, the altitude, the vertical speed, all this information in real time while it's flying. And after testing the built-in functions, I was ready for a longer flight. Here's a test flight of the Neo. What I've done is I've included the Ruko scanner apps readout. And you can see that the app seems to follow stuff pretty good. Right now I've reached about the max height that I was flying at, and you can see it reads out 108 feet. And when I'm making this heading track turn, you can see that the heading is turning back around to 187, 205, 222, and 250 degrees heading. And then as I swing back left again to the other direction, you can see it's now 220 degrees. And as well, the height change. You can see that the height change goes from 44 to 39 to 31 to 29, 18. And as I come across the parking lot, what I'll do is I'll rise back up in the air and do another heading change. And you can see the heading goes from 80 to 11 to 8 as I head back out across the field again. And then as we watch the height change, I can see again the height's going 85 to 103 feet to 111 feet to 114 feet. And I'm kind of leveling off again around 114 feet. And it's showing a distance of 373 feet from me. And as I make this turn again, you can see the headings doing a quick increase, going back the opposite direction, back up to 145, 164, 186 degrees, 220 degrees, and finally I'm turned back all the way around back to 276 degrees, and then finally we're heading back again left, going back to 211, 209, and then as well the height reduces back down to 11 feet and 9 feet, and finally basically yeah, I'm about 8 feet there. That's what it shows in the air. Well, there you go. Remote ID for the DJI Neo. If you're looking at using a drone in open air assembly or transitioning over people, and you want something that's inexpensive and small and lightweight, well, I think this could be a good option. The only thing that you should keep in mind is the location of the remote ID when it's placed on the drone. You want to make sure that you don't affect the CG of the drone itself. So there it is, and thanks for watching, and till next time. Bye-bye.